Hello. Oh, sorry. 1 second. Hello, I'm Andrew Gentile.
Ooh.
Spicy.
I like it.
Hello,
Very official.
Hello, I'm Andrew Gentile.
And
I'm
this...
Arianna.
Hi,
Oh,
Max.
and I'm behind the flicks. Should we start over?
And you're listening to Behind the Flicks. This show is all about me sharing as many facts as I know about filmmaking and directors and behind-the-scenes info about movies and whatnot to Arianna, and you'll join us for the ride. We on the podcast are very grateful to be joined by two special guests. Garrett McDade. Speak.
Hi, I'm Garrett McDade.
And Max Hurley.
Hi, Max Hurley.
Welcome,
Guys, I hate to be that guy, but could we start over one more time?
Hello, I'm
And
Andrew.
Sorry, go ahead.
Hello, I'm Andrew Gentile.
And I'm Arianna.
And you're listening to Behind the Flicks. This show is all about me sharing as many facts as I know about filmmaking and directors and behind-the-scenes info about movies and whatnot to Arianna. And you'll join us for the ride. Once again, we on the podcast are very grateful to be joined by two special guests, Garrett McDade,
Hi, I'm Garrett.
Max Hurley.
Hi, I'm Max.
Gentlemen, it's wonderful to have you back on the podcast. Thank you for joining us.
Really is.
It's great to be here.
Great to be here. Let me tell you, great to be here.
I love that enthusiasm, Max.
Lots of
sensed it in your
enthusiasm from
voice.
Max.
Alrighty, Arianna. Can we get a review of this episode's film?
Ooh, this episode's film is the one and only Pulp Fiction, as was told me was chosen by Mr. Garrett down there.
Gotta have my Tarantino.
Oh man, I mean he's such a G. I didn't realize how young he was until I watched the movie and saw his little cameo character that he did, and I was a little floored because I'm used to seeing interviews of him post Django Unchained, and he looks totally different, and so it was really cool to realize that he's been making movies for as long as he's been making movies.
Yeah.
But anyways, off topic. Pulp Fiction is it is quite the ride, and I think I found this movie really, really hilarious. And I finally understand all the Uma Thurman dancing jokes. And it's hard to describe. It seems to be about two hitman / muscle enforcers for an unknown criminal head honcho. And this other guy who's a boxer who's played by Bruce Willis, who attempts to pay off his fight, but he ends up winning. And I have no idea how to describe this movie other than the fact that it's written amazingly and it's super hilarious and full of really awesome action ridiculous scenes. And half the things that happened, I couldn't believe that they happened to these people.
Arianna, I'm going to correct you on one thing. We do know who the mob boss is.
I mean, we know who he is, but we don't really know what he does as a criminal mastermind.
Oh, okay. I see what you mean. All right.
His what he does is ambiguous.
Oh, he makes his money.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, fair enough. And Arianna, the big question.
Yes.
What grade are you going to give it?
Ooh. Oh, as much as I don't like movies that I walk away not understanding why I watch them, which is kind of how I felt about this movie. It was so much fun to watch. I give it an easy B.
Easy B?
Andrew, where'd you go, Andrew?
Where'd he go?
He is.
What? You're giving it a B?
You offended him so much he disappeared.
I mean,
You're giving it a B?
Whoa! Side camera.
Awesome.
You're giving it a what? Wrong camera.
3 times the charm.
Oh, wait,
Yeah.
hold on. Crap. Okay, there we go. You're giving
There
it
we
a
go.
B? What?
I like that angle the best out of all of them.
Ariana, I think you're breaking a few film student laws by giving that movie a B.
It's just because you gotta understand, I'm not a film student. I'm more simplistic than that. So I've only watched this movie one time through, and so as it was entertaining, and I could follow the story. But at the end of it, I was still trying to figure out what he was trying to say about everything, and the characters, it's so wonderfully acted, and that earns a crap ton of brownie points. But because I didn't leave it like totally understanding what was going on, which happens a lot when I watch Quentin Tarantino films, won't lie. That's what lost it a grade.
Right. I think I understand where you're coming from, especially because, like, obviously Tarantino's known for his dialogue, right? And like that movie, there's just so much that is just for the characters to be talking that you come away at the end like if you're not explicitly looking for the themes that are coming from the dialogue, then you may be a bit confused as to what those themes are, because like not all the dialogue is trying to push the plot forward as like, you know, some film gurus would say. Yeah. Should be done.
Exactly. I feel like it did give you a lot of insight into the characters, that dialogue you're talking about, which was a lot of fun. But I still I feel like I got to watch it like 3 more times to kind of understand what was trying to be said.
I'm sorry. I apologize for my initial reaction. I'm trying to calm down. Sorry. Okay, I'm calm. All right, so...
Too high of a grade for you, huh, Andrew?
Sorry?
The B score. It's a little too high for you, huh?
No, I don't even have to retort to that. This is an A+ film for me. So, Garrett, when you and I initially talked, you initially wanted to do Django Unchained, but there just isn't as much written about it as there is about Pulp Fiction, so it would make my job easier to do Pulp Fiction. So why, in your opinion, did we choose Pulp Fiction for this episode?
Well, it is, I think the cultural impact is obvious from watching it, because everybody's seen these snippets from the movie, but like not until you actually see it do you know what the context for each of the scenes are. I remember today when I've seen the movie before, but like such a long time ago, the freaking John Travolta being confused in the room, you know, with his, I don't know, you guys have seen the GIF before.
The GIF, yeah. It's
everywhere. I mean, I think Pulp Fiction, it is a cult movie, and for that reason, I think it's really interesting. I don't think people know enough about like the behind the scenes of that movie, and I certainly don't. So I'd love to hear what you have to say today.
Before we do that, can we talk about when we first saw the film?
The first time that I saw Pulp Fiction, I think, was sophomore year of high school, and this was actually, I had already seen like Django Unchained and Inglourious Bastards before it, so I don't know. I really didn't know what to expect going in, because I had heard like, oh, it's like the greatest movie of all time, you know, whatever, and obviously the cultural impact, even I knew about it then. And so I watched it, and I'm gonna be honest, the first time I watched it, I kind of felt like Arianna, like I didn't really, fully understand everything, and I was kind of left like, I was enjoyable, but the subsequent times when I watched it, though, I did definitely appreciate it more. So it was in high school when I saw it. And how about you, Garrett? When did you first see Pulp Fiction?
It had to be high school, of course. I think just the exposure to that first level of film students in our video production class probably pushed me toward finally seeing it. I think I enjoyed it then, and I enjoyed it more now. But what about you, Arianna?
Let me see. I believe it was last Wednesday, sitting in my living room, renting it. And I watched it over the course of like 2 sessions. And for this podcast, and it was a lot of fun. Like I've seen clips before, like I mentioned, pre-recording to everybody else that I'd seen the 2 diner scenes, but the first scene where they're just the guy and the girlfriend are just talking about robbing a restaurant, why it's a good idea, and then the end scene with Samuel Jackson's speech were the only clips I'd seen of the movie, with the exception of the GIFs. And I had no idea what it was about or what was going on. And just the fact that it was Quentin Tarantino.
Can I just say I really like your comedic build-up that you had. Well, I first saw it on last Wednesday. That was great. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm working on it. I'm learning from you guys.
Well, I first saw it. There was this channel called IFC channel on cable, and I kept begging my parents to let me see it, but I was like, I think I was like junior high. And I was like, I loved Kill Bill. Can I please see Pulp Fiction? And my mom was like, no, there's a terrible basement scene in it. That's really disturbing. And I don't want you to see that. And I said, please, can I see it? And she says, okay, you can see it with your dad, but you have to walk out during the basement scene, then come back in the room. And I was like, all right, fine, I'll just get, but then you really only get a taste of Pulp Fiction if you don't see the whole thing.
But she let you see Kill Bill.
Yeah.
That movie has like a trillion deaths, while this movie probably has 3.
Well, it wasn't the objection was not deaths.
Yeah. The objective, yeah.
It was something else. So it's
well, she's trying to kill Bill. The objective is death.
Yeah,
let's be honest.
Hey, man, I didn't make the rules in my household, you know.
Did you end up walking out during the scene?
I had to. I had no choice. But then, you know, like a year later, I finally got the Blu-ray. And I was like, oh yeah, I've seen worse stuff than this on the internet. Should we dive right in?
Let's dive in.
Yes, please. I'm so excited to know what the heck is going on behind this movie.
Despite the fact that Quentin Tarantino's directorial debut, Reservoir Dogs, underwhelmed at the box office, it was still a hit with critics and proved that change was coming in independent filmmaking. In my humble opinion, this change could be more readily described as Grenade, which exploded the way we think about cinema forever. 1994's Pulp Fiction.
Ooh.
Arianna, Max, Garrett. Let's talk about some facts regarding Pulp Fiction. Quentin Tarantino originally developed his second film with a company called TriStar, who funded the script during its early stages. When it came time for Tarantino to meet with the TriStar executives, they had read the script but thought it was, in the director's words, dark and harrowing and too demented. TriStar executives would only agree to fund the film if Tarantino made script changes. Tarantino refused, TriStar turned down the project, and Tarantino's producer, Lawrence Bender, brought the project to Miramax's head of production.
Harvey Weinstein.
The head of production was a guy by the name of Richard Gladstein.
Oh.
Gladstein flipped out over the script and immediately brought it to his boss, Harvey Weinstein.
Oh. Uh-oh.
Now, we do have to address that elephant in the room.
Well, I wouldn't call him that fat.
I mean, you could confuse the two.
That's true.
Unfortunately, this horrible man does have a place. Trying to tread lightly, guys. Unfortunately, this horrible man does have a place in film history, having been one of the most influential producers in all of Hollywood. We have to acknowledge that, it's unfortunate. It's more than unfortunate. It's tragic what happened. But at the same time, he did have a place, and even if it's now relegated to a footnote. So, Weinstein had recent success with such films as The Crying Game and The Piano. Furthermore, he had released Reservoir Dogs in theaters and was a Tarantino supporter. So, when Gladstein brought the script to Weinstein and told him to read it right away, Weinstein did. After Weinstein read the first 20 pages of Pulp Fiction on a plane ride, he landed and called Gladstein. He was immediately enthusiastic about the project. After he finished reading the script, Weinstein told Gladstein, quote, "Fuck it. We have to make this movie. It's unbelievable. Buy the script. I'm making the movie." Horrible, awful, degenerate human being. In terms of movies, he had great taste.
Yeah. True on both accounts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I think this movie, like, part of the reason why it got picked up so fast is because it was like made during a time where like indie films were getting like greenlit they wouldn't usually get greenlit before, but like studios were kind of looking for like indie films that would kind of break the mold.
Yeah, from the 60s to the early 80s, directors had like a lot of power in Hollywood. Until such movies as like Michael Cimino's Heaven's Gate, which went like more than like 10 times its budget or something ridiculous.
Yeah, bankrupted United Artists.
It bankrupted United Artists, and also John Landis' segment on the Twilight Zone movie where people died. Then the studios were like, first of all, we're taking the movies away from you, all of you. Second of all, we're making big budget action movies now. You know, there are films in between that had director control, like David Lynch movies and stuff like that. But by the late 80s, people had gotten really, like, audiences had been like, all right, we get it. We're kind of done with these kind of movies. Stuff that felt more handmade became fashionable. So yes, you are correct, Garrett.
I think it's kind of cool how Quentin Tarantino kind of started in the... I mean, he still is, obviously, because he has so much control of the movies he makes. So I would still consider him an independent filmmaker. But, like, it's cool that that's kind of where he got his beginning, because he's so big-time not blockbuster in terms of generic, but in terms of popularity now.
Right.
He's so mainstream that it's, like, cool to know that he started, like, grassroots like that. It's cool.
For one of the stories in Pulp Fiction, Tarantino had a co-writer. That co-writer, Roger Avery, and Tarantino met when they were working at a video store. They would write together and pass movie ideas back and forth. In fact, based off of Tarantino's critical success with Reservoir Dogs, he was able to help Avery get his directorial debut off the ground. That film was called Killing Zoe. Then, when it came time to do Pulp Fiction, Tarantino asked Avery if he could use his story, which at that point was called Pandemonium Reigns, which was about a boxer who refuses to throw a fight.
Ooh.
Avery gave Tarantino the go-ahead. As a side note, Tarantino added the Gold Watch speech with Christopher Walken. By the way, can we just stop for a second? The Gold Watch speech. Come on, that's great. That's great. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my god, it was so good.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't imagine what it'd be like in somebody else's hands. I mean, Christopher Walken is just, he's priceless.
Yeah.
I've never seen, I mean, not off the top of my head anyways, an actor that has so much, like, dramatic ability, but, like, just sinks right into the comedy, like, so effortlessly in between.
Yeah, the way he says stuff.
Yeah.
Your father, he gave me this watch. We're in a POW camp. Why do I talk like this? I lost it there.
No, that was fun.
Pretty good.
It's hard to capture him.
It's almost impossible. So that was pretty good.
Yeah, he's some people can do just spot on. I can't think of the Nathan Drake actor. He just does one that's perfect. I don't understand.
Right. Then Tarantino decided that he wanted solo screenplay credit. Avery at first refused to give up his right to the co-writing credit. Tarantino was incensed and argued with Avery. But due to the fact that Avery was in debt because of Killing Zoe and Tarantino promised good compensation, Avery relented. Instead, he accepted a story by credit, which he shared with Tarantino. So that, that's that. I'm sure there are like two sides to every story, but that's it's peculiar.
So he's not credited as a screenwriter, but he's credited as a story developer.
Yeah, which is considered in Hollywood, a lesser credit.
I just watched the movie like a couple hours ago. I mean, I finished it at like 5, and I forgot obviously I remember the characters just really vividly, but the names, I can't recall any except Butch and maybe Mia. Can you guys remember even the names? It's really hard.
Marcellus Wallace, Vincent Vega, Jules, Winston Wolfe.
Yeah, it's so weird how you can't recall the names. It's really odd.
Two of seriously? Two. Oh, that's our Garrett. Two of Tarantino's lifelong heroes were film critic Pauline Kael and filmmaker Brian De Palma. Both praised actor John Travolta, who had starred in the popular TV show Welcome Back, Kotter, and box office smash Saturday Night Fever. However, that was back in the 70s. By the 90s, after a string of box office failures, including the De Palma film Blowout, which I think is brilliant, Travolta was considered a has-been.
And a Scientologist. Oh, that was before. Never mind.
Well, I mean, when did he become a Scientologist?
It's Pulp Fiction pre-Scientology. I mean, for Travolta.
I actually don't know. I should know that. I'm sorry, guys.
You're letting us down. How dare you?
Quick Google search. John Travolta became a Scientologist in 1975. So way before Pulp Fiction.
Oh,
damn.
God, I should have known that. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry, listeners. I'm sorry,
You're
audience.
welcome.
Thank you, Arianna. I should probably resign now. after this next fact, after this next little section, I do want to talk about the actors in the movie.
Yes.
Yeah, of course.
They deserve it.
Other members of the cast included Uma Thurman, who was an up-and-comer due to her supporting role in Dangerous Liaisons, as well as Bruce Willis, whose career was on the rocks at that point, despite having starred in Die Hard only 5 years prior. Do you have a favorite character, guys? Each of you?
Ooh, wow.
I love Bruce Willis. Butch is so dynamic. Like it's in the scene where he gets mad at his French wife, I forget her name. Like he goes from like super calm to just like really really angry about her forgetting his watch. And then but it's I don't know, it all feels like it's relatable and real. Like you know how much he cares. And you know he's not trying to, attack her. And you still feel like they love each other after that. It doesn't feel cartoonish at all. I really love, and he's a bald king. I love, he rocks that bald head. I gotta say, he's probably the best one, minus maybe like The Rock or something. I don't know.
He really does. Did you ever see him in Surrogates by chance?
Yeah, I did. I forgot that existed.
He has hair momentarily in that movie, and it looks ridiculous.
yeah. He's like a wig on.
He definitely owns the bald head, especially in Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, I forgot that movie ever existed. That's crazy. You saw that.
Yeah.
Max Surrogates? Any thoughts? Yeah, exactly.
Push that one to the side.
Come on, Andrew. Sci-fi classic, defined our generation. But I think my favorite character is definitely the Gimp. Just such a brave performance and
Right.
role. I don't know. It's just so I can no. My favorite character is Jules, without a doubt. I mean, come on. I'm sorry, but he's perfect. He's literally perfect.
It's Travolta, right?
No.
Jules is Samuel Jackson.
Oh, is it Samuel Jackson?
I love that.
He's gonna help me out with
I love how prepared we all came for this podcast. I mean, I didn't know John Travolta's background. You didn't know who Samuel Jackson's character's name was. I mean, it's all a wash,
It's a wash.
Gosh, don't say that. Come on.
Arianna?
Oh, man. Instinctively I wanted to say Vincent Vega, John Travolta's character, because I love his speeches. And the one, his whole foot massage conversation was just, I loved it. I don't know why I loved it so much, but it was a good introduction to the kind of person he is.
Right.
And he did it so well. It's like, talking to his best friend about it was like, I don't know, it made me fall in love with his character pretty instantaneously.
Nice.
And then, but everyone is pretty awesome. I agree that Butch is like a really close second.
Right. If I could just throw mine in, mine is Winston Wolfe. If for one line alone, which is there's a line which I like to quote to people who I trust, and I'm trusting the internet right now, where Winston Wolfe had instructed Jules and Vincent to clean up the car, and then after they clean up the car, put the blankets down. Tarantino says, "This looks like a whole new car," and everybody's like patting themselves on the back and high-fiving. And then Winston Wolfe just says, "Let's not start sucking each other's dicks quite yet, gentlemen." And I love quoting that line because it's like, God, let's not congratulate ourselves too soon. And it's also
there's still a body in the trunk, guys.
Yeah, and it's such a crude way to do it. I love it. It's so crude, and my grandma should not listen to this one.
Then she'll finally understand your sense of humor.
Right.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Who knows what's going to come out of Grandma's mouth now?
Let's move on. On the day of filming, Samuel Jackson's wig for his character had not yet been picked out. Tarantino wanted Jackson to wear an afro, but an assistant accidentally bought a Jerry curl wig. Initially, Tarantino wanted the wig returned, but Jackson liked it and insisted on keeping it for the film.
I really, the whole time I was watching, I was wondering if that was his hair or not. Because I was like, I don't believe it is, but I don't actually know.
It's not his hair.
Not his hair.
Looks good on him.
He just liked rocking the Jerry curl.
Exactly right. There are many pop culture references in and influences on Pulp Fiction. I think that's safe to say.
Yeah.
Let's explore 3 of them. The scene where Uma Thurman and John Travolta's characters dance in Jackrabbit Slims was
the
influenced.
diner.
The diner, yeah. That diner.
Of course.
I mean, okay, total side tangent again. Don't we want that diner to exist?
Yes.
Yeah, and it does not exist.
Was that shot on the
never
stage?
existed. It was shot on a stage, yeah.
Ah.
I want to go there.
Steve Buscemi as Benny Hill.
Yes.
Give me all the food.
Yeah.
Wait.
Oh my gosh, you were right. I
think you mean Buddy Holly.
Oh, Buddy Holly. That's right. He's in the movie for like 5 minutes. Or no, 5 seconds.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine having such a great cast that you just cast Steve Buscemi in a movie where he's just there for like 20 seconds.
I know. He steals the scene though every time.
Pretty much, yeah.
What kind of food do you want?
Exactly.
I'm Buddy. Classic.
So that scene in Jackrabbit Slims was influenced by a French film called Band of Outsiders. That's its title in English, and whose French name is Band Apart. In Band of Outsiders, 3 young criminals dance to music in a restaurant. Funnily enough, Tarantino's then production company was named A Band Apart, a play on the film's French title.
Oh.
So like in the opening credits, right after Pulp Fiction, you see A Band Apart.
Yeah, with the Reservoir Dogs logo.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the connection.
Andrew, do you know who directed that film?
Jean-Luc Godard.
Oh, yeah, okay. I thought it was a Godard film. Yeah.
Yeah. I saw it too. It's pretty good. The second influence on Pulp Fiction that I like to discuss is Kiss Me Deadly, a film from the 50s. In that film, an important part of the plot is a briefcase whose contents glow but are never directly seen.
What?
And so there's it's literally like something that's like they never say exactly what it is in Kiss Me Deadly, but you know it's like something nuclear. It has something to do with like nuclear power,
Yeah.
or it could be like a bomb or a nuclear atom, something like that.
Oh,
And
that's
whenever
right.
whenever they open it, they quickly shut it because they know it'll kill everybody if they completely open it. I don't know.
Yeah, it gets opened at the end of the movie, right? In the beach house.
That's right. So you've
Crazy.
seen it.
I've seen it. Yeah, that's so
Great
bizarre.
movie. Yeah.
Yeah, good noir.
Exactly. The third influence I'd like to discuss is a Martin Scorsese documentary called American Boy. In American Boy, a story is told about a woman who was overdosing and how she was given an adrenaline shot to the heart. This story was lifted from American Boy and fictionalized in Pulp Fiction. That's a great scene right there. Years ago, by the way, I'm sorry I didn't do this for this episode, but years ago I watched the trivia track, on the Blu-ray where like they show text at the bottom of the screen for like, okay, here's trivia about this scene and that scene. I did that years ago. They really discussed like the film's editing style and the camera work, because if you notice, it's all long takes and handheld during that scene, like handheld shots. Then you get to the floor with Uma Thurman, and it's just steady, and it's like slow shots, and then just wham,
And she screams super loud. I had to turn it down.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Say something.
Yeah.
Something.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Something. All the dialogue in this movie is very memorable.
Yeah.
Just like one-liners that just they fit so well.
This is just a total side tangent too. And the DVD bonus features, Quentin Tarantino has like this camera, and he's just filming like behind the scenes with like this old video camera, like this digital video camera from like the 90s. Mm-hmm. And Bruce Willis points to it and says, some kid someday is going to make a really groovy movie with that camera. It's going to gross like $100 million, and it's going to change the world. And Tarantino's like, oh yeah, no doubt. And 1999, the Blair Witch Project comes out, and
Oh,
yeah, no direct connection, but it's kind of like it was shot on the same types of cameras.
Yeah.
Ironically,
Pulp Fiction has a behind the scenes whole thing, like its own movie, right?
It has like short little segments on the Blu-ray. Yeah. So by the way, Tarantino is now an advocate for shooting on film. Like he hates digital filmmaking and he only shoots on film. Yeah. So it's kind of ironic that he agreed with Willis in that bonus feature. Yeah. What do you guys think about Tarantino only shooting on film?
I actually saw an excellent video on YouTube, and it was basically a comparison between when Tarantino was asked about sort of shooting on film versus shooting on digital, and when Roger Deakins, a very talented director of photography, his opinion on shooting on film. And when Tarantino sort of talks about film, he uses like so much hyperbole and there's so much vitriol there. He's saying like digital cinema is it's the death of cinema or whatever, blah 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 blah. Whereas Roger Deakins, on the other hand, he has a much more level-headed. He's like, look, at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter whether or not you shoot on digital or film. It's like the image that you produce and how it looks and how it benefits the story. And so I tend to side with Deakins on that one because,
right.
And obviously if you're like a student or whatever, you can't really afford to shoot on film, and I think there's so many great digital cameras now. It's just, yeah, I think it's kind of bullshit.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. It all depends on story. It all depends on what's appropriate for the mood of the film.
I mean, digital is caught up to film and even surpassed it by this point. So, I mean, if you're choosing film at this point, it's because of the character, not exactly because it's. I think Tarantino's being a little pretentious there. Yeah, not really pretentious, but elitist.
Oh yeah,
of course.
I haven't seen the film, but I watched the trailer for Mank. And as soon as I saw that trailer, I was like, okay, film, it's over, because because David Fincher, he's has such an attention to detail. David Fincher, the director of Mank, he has such an attention to detail that he won't settle until it looks just like film if he's trying to replicate film.
Yeah.
And so as soon as I saw that, I was like, right. As soon as I saw the trailer, I was like, right, yeah, there's no excuse anymore. For the scene in which the hillbillies rape Marcellus Wallace.
Oh.
There we go.
Tone change.
I'm injecting this conversation with an adrenaline shot, hopefully.
Hey.
Tarantino ended up using the song Comanche by the Revels. Originally for that scene, Tarantino wanted My Sharona by the Knack. Anybody know that song?
My Sharona.
Copyright.
Uh-oh.
Okay, so here we get to the post-production drama, if you will.
Oh, spicy.
After filming, Tarantino screened a cut of the film for a group of his director friends. The overall response was not enthusiastic. But there was one strong supporter of the film in that audience, future Oscar winner Kathryn Bigelow, who would go on to direct The Hurt Locker and Zero Dark 30.
It's nice. I mean, all those other directors, who cares about them?
Right, exactly. Pretty much. And by the way, Kathryn Bigelow won against Tarantino for Hurt Locker.
Oh, nice. Against what?
Inglourious Bastards. Tarantino has related a story about how one of his director friends, who he didn't name, so I have to refer to him as one of his director friends. One of his director friends was planning on having a serious talk and get tough with Tarantino about Pulp Fiction, but decided to do so after he got back from the Cannes Film Festival. Pulp Fiction won the top prize at the festival, and the director changed his mind.
Oh.
So it won the Palme d'Or, which is probably the most prestigious prize for a film festival in the world. So,
see, that makes me wonder if he just was still felt the same and realized that, okay, well, I guess I'm just gonna let it be because if people like the film, I'm not gonna sit here and try to change it, because he said he had to have a hard talking to with Quentin Tarantino.
He was planning on having a hard talking to.
Yeah, so he saw that people liked it and was like, oh, okay, it's not worth the argument. Or did his opinion actually change?
What Tarantino claimed was that that director called him and said, I was going to talk to you, but what the hell do I know, apparently. So I think that was this feeling from that guy.
So he was pressured into liking Pulp Fiction.
I think the point is that more
Like a lot of us.
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
I won't do that to this movie. Shut up, Max. Look at Andrew. Look what you did.
So listen, thank you so much for being on the podcast. No.
That time.
It's over.
No, but no. To actually answer the question, I think the guy was saying, "Well, I don't know what the audiences want, but you do apparently." So, I think that was more the feeling.
So he didn't necessarily change his opinion about the movie, but he changed his opinion on his value of his own opinion.
Yeah.
That makes sense at all? He changed the weight of his own opinion, but his opinion itself didn't change.
Yeah. Okay. I see what you mean. Yeah. Exactly.
That was better. Thank you.
Yeah.
I did go to school. I did learn English.
Oh man. When it screened at the New York Film Festival, the scene in which Uma Thurman received an adrenaline shot to the heart was so intense that one audience member passed out.
What?
It turned out that she was just a diabetic and needed some sugar.
Darn.
But you know, apparently like the screening was stopped and somebody was saying like somebody screamed, "Is there a doctor in the house?" You know, that kind of thing.
Oh.
So she was given like some orange juice or something. I don't know. When all was said and done, Pulp Fiction became Miramax's biggest box office hit to that date, grossing over $200 million worldwide on a budget of under $10 million.
Wow. They made some big bucks.
Exactly. Yeah, it was a game changer for everybody in Hollywood. Roger Ebert, probably the most famous film critic in history. By the way, you guys could disagree with me on that, but I think it could be argued that he's the most famous film critic in history.
Yeah.
He named Pulp Fiction the second greatest film of the 90s. And I want to hear your guys' take on this. He and Martin Scorsese discussed how Pulp Fiction is not considered morality. But, you know, Tarantino made an interesting point about how it's very Old Testament in terms of its morality and the stories that he tells. For example, Vincent Vega chooses to do the wrong thing, he's punished. Jules chooses to do the right thing in the end, he's rewarded. Butch chooses to take a second chance to do the right thing and saves Marcellus Wallace and is rewarded. So in that sense, it's kind of Old Testament. Thoughts?
Yeah, it's about redemption.
Yeah.
What were you going to say, Max?
No, I was going to say exactly that.
Oh, you're going to say...
No, I was just laughing at Andrew's post that he was doing. I thought it was very humorous.
Oh, man. Oh, man.
This is a good podcast. A lot of stuff to learn here.
I'm doing my best, guys.
No. I'm making fun of
doing
Max, not you.
This is a totally personal story. It has nothing to do with facts about the movie. My aunt, one of her favorite films of all time is Pulp Fiction. I was confused because I didn't understand what she was talking about when I saw the movie. She was describing a scene in which Vincent Vega is interviewed by Mia Wallace, Uma Thurman's character, and she's telling him that he's an Elvis man versus a Beatles man, like this whole monologue. And I was like, that's nowhere in the movie. And she said, yes, it is. It's in the movie. And it turns out what happened, and I found that scene on the deleted scenes of the bonus features. Turns out she doesn't own the movie. She watched it on TV, and they must have added deleted scenes into it to pad out the runtime so they could play on like network or AMC. So anyway, teaches
you to watch the Blu-ray.
She doesn't have a DVD or Blu-ray player.
Well, those deleted scenes, like you got to see them. Apparently, they're better than the most memorable.
It is a good scene. I'll give her that.
Andrew, I have a question for you, real quick. Are there multiple versions of the film, or is there just the theatrical cut, or are there like different versions with deleted scenes or something?
I think I have no official confirmation of this. But what I was talking about was like a TV edit where they put scenes from the deleted scenes back in order to pad out the runtime.
Oh, for advertisements.
Well, you also, there's so much explicit stuff in it that you kind of have to cut some stuff out.
All right.
For network or cable TV, basic cable, and so that's what I meant.
Right. Interesting.
That's my theory.
I think
if Quentin Tarantino's out there, can you please confirm this? Thank you.
he's listening right now.
There's
Right.
gotta be a difference because when I went to look this up to see how long it was gonna be, so I could plan out when I was gonna watch it, on Google it lists it as being 2 hours and 58 minutes, but when I rented it, it's like 2 hours and 34 minutes.
Oh, really?
So there's gotta be another version or some kind of maybe they add all the deleted scenes and make it almost 3 hours long.
Yeah. The version I watched on HBO Max was 2 hours 34.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah.
What are
isn't
they
that
leaving
funky?
out?
What the heck, Google?
What the
You
heck?
know everything.
Google is supposed to know everything, yeah.
Google is the pretentious service that watches the uncut version.
Exactly right.
I did want to ask because of the intro to the movie defines what pulp is.
Yeah.
I want to know your guys' take on the name of the movie in relation to the content.
Do you guys want to go
Because
first? or should I?
I told you I was a little uncertain at the end of it, so I want to hear the practiced brains opinion.
I know what Tarantino meant, but you guys should go first.
Yeah, so when you drink pulp, like it not only does it give you more fiber, but it really adds to the consistency of your orange juice. And yeah, I agree that pulp is better.
You absolute ass of a man.
Excuse
I was
me?
like, this is relation. Okay, is it like
Hear it.
the writing? The
And I
pulp
love
is
you
the
for it.
writing?
I'm confused. What are you talking about?
No.
Tell us. Tell the audience.
Okay. So there was this thing back in the early 1900s called pulp novels. It was pulp novels were printed on really bad paper, like made out of like the pulpy part of trees. And so that's why they're called pulp. And they're like cost like 10 cents or 5 cents a novel. And so Pulp Fiction is kind of a play on that kind of title of novels. So that's why it's called.
And oftentimes, like, they were kind of, since they were so cheap, they were also like kind of exploitative too, right?
Exactly.
And, yeah. So which ties into the movie even further.
Lurid subject matter in the novels, yeah.
The N-word? A billion times.
I actually wanted to ask you guys really quickly because, like, when I don't know, I saw that scene. You know, I think it's a great scene overall, but I don't know. I was kind of cringing a little bit when he just kept saying it over and over again. I don't know. How do you guys feel
Oh,
about
Quentin Tarantino?
it? Yeah, when he said it.
Yeah.
Really
Absolutely.
awkward and it's like, ugh.
Dead
Okay.
blank word storage? I don't think so.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
Not
what
in my movie.
Oh.
come on, Junior. Ugh,
Yeah.
that was awkward.
It seemed like an empty use of the word. I got it when like the racist like rapist people were saying it, but like he says it a lot, and I don't really see the use. But
Yeah.
apparently Samuel Jackson says it's okay, and he gives him a validated N-word pass. So we just got to take it. There's nothing wrong with it. I certainly cannot decipher whether or not the word is used better in Pulp Fiction than if a racist uses it. So.
So I think I disagree with you. I understand where you're coming from in a real world setting because that's like there's huge, standards to it, and I would never, embrace that in like a, regular real world setting.
I don't think the argument should be, oh, Tarantino has a pass to use it versus he doesn't have a pass to use it. I think it's the fact that it exists in reality and he's an artist. And so I think an artist has a right to explore the dark parts of reality. I think it's a seedy worlds that Tarantino explores, and they kind of need to be explored. I just think that he's just exploring those subjects.
Yeah, I definitely think that you're right, and he's very purposeful with how he does it. Like he's not
Exactly.
just what's the word when you see a tagline that he's not clickbait version for movies.
Right.
He's not like that at all. Everything seems very purposeful.
And by the way, I totally respect your guys' differing opinions, and I appreciate them.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair enough, Andrew.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
I agree then. I agree. Yeah.
Do we have any more closing thoughts? I'm serious. Throw anything out right now.
Is a racist, and I hate him. I'm giving 0 out of 10.
The views and opinions of Garrett McDade and Max Hurley do not necessarily represent the views and opinions of Independent Creative Studios, its owners, creators, or its affiliates. Thank you.
That's true.
You prepped that. You knew you were gonna have to use that at some point.
Garrett, closing thoughts.
Well, I would certainly give this movie an A. I think the dialogue is probably the best around. I mean, like in terms of just like characters having conversations. Obviously, that's what this movie is known for, and I can't name another movie that does it so well. And I think just in that respect, it deserves at least an A. Aside from that, I might even have to give it an A plus. I was certainly, my eyes were glued to the screen the entire time, and even if you can't take away like the obvious themes that the movie is trying to throw at you, because they're not obvious, the story in itself is very it's addictive to watch. I feel like I could watch it again tomorrow. You know, even just because the characters are so good and like you care about their plight and you care when they die. Like the gunshots, like the deaths, they mean something. They're not just empty. So that's what I think. Great movie. Max?
Oh God, I basically pretty much agree with everything you said, Garrett. It's a fantastic film with incredible writing. The characters, the acting is just, it's fantastic. I mean, I think I'd probably give it like a B plus. Definitely, it's great. Yeah, very good film. Very good film. If you haven't seen it, yeah, watch it. Stop what you're doing, just watch it. It's, you know, the I think like the hype is justified. You know, it's a great film.
So why not an A or an A plus? Like what problems do you have with it?
I just think like my personal taste in film has really changed kind of drastically over these past few years, and so while I definitely like appreciate basically like everything we've been talking about, except some parts, I don't know. I think like I didn't really feel super emotionally like attached to the characters. I don't know. I loved them. I loved watching them. But like when Vincent Vega gets, you know, gunned down by fucking Bruce Willis, I literally felt nothing for him. I'm gonna be honest. And so I don't know. It's just yeah. I don't know. It's just my tastes have changed a little bit, but I still really like it. So hence the B plus.
This is genuinely one of my favorite films of all time. I mean, it's hard. You know, I'm a film buff, so I have like a top 100. You know, this is in like the top 50. You know, and Hateful Eight's my favorite film of all time. So I have a great respect for Tarantino's filmmaking. Pulp Fiction's an amazing film. It's an amazing work of art, in my opinion. Garrett, what do you have to promote?
This podcast, the Behind the Flits podcast. It's just perfect. You know, I listen to every single episode.
Is that right?
I have.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm still working on that album. You know, maybe next time I'll have it ready, and then I can, you know, we can drop a link in the description of the podcast or whatever.
Nice.
But
yeah. Well, what's the album? Just in case not people don't listen to our old podcast.
Oh, it's gonna be called Tiny Boy. Yeah, it's it's like a folk album. I have a lot of faith in it. So yeah, we'll see when it comes out. Thank you. Yeah.
Max, what you got to promote?
Oh boy, I unfortunately do not have an album coming out soon. Maybe we'll see. Maybe we'll see. You know, if you want, if you feel the need, you can check out Paper Lantern on YouTube. I know I hawked it last time, but I'm gonna do it again. So feel free if you want to sort of see what like I'm making and what Garrett and I are making. And also, dear viewers and listeners, if you are not subscribed to Independent Creator Studios on YouTube.com, then you're not a true Andrew Gentile fan. You're not a true Behind the Flicks fan. So please go do that before anything else. And that's it from me, Andrew. Thank you for having us on.
Listeners, if you have any comments, questions, or suggestions for future episodes, feel free to shoot us an email at independentcreatorstudios@gmail.com. If you like this episode, please write a review and subscribe to us on iTunes, SoundCloud, or YouTube. We'd love to hear your feedback. Behind the Flicks was created by myself and Arianna. I researched, wrote, and edited this episode. My name is Andrew Gentile. This has been an Independent Creator Studios production.
Oh my god. Literally eating his words.
All right.
Okay.
There we go.
Wait, where are you going? Where are you
Round two.
going?
I'm turning off my heater. It's 100 degrees in here.
You-
I'm boiling.
Oh, Garrett.
Oh,
You need a checklist. Things to check before.
Garrett
hopping
bingo.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Round two.
I think we're all good. We're all good, right? I'm sorry. That was my bad.